Over 5 centuries ago, a dynasty arose that would shape the very soul of the Indian subcontinent. A dynasty of warriors, visionaries, and patrons of art whose influence is still felt today. This is the story of the Mughal Empire, a tale of conquest, splendor, and a legacy that still echoes through the corridors of time. Join us as we journey back to an era of emperors and empires, of breathtaking architecture and profound cultural fusion. Our story begins in the early 16th century, a time of great change and upheaval across the globe. In the rugged mountains of Central Asia, a young prince with a lineage tracing back to two of history's greatest conquerors, Timur and Genghis Khan, harbored dreams of empire. His name was Babur. Driven from his ancestral home in Fergana, Babur's early life was a constant struggle for survival and power. But his ambition was relentless. With his eyes set on the vast and wealthy lands of Hindustan, he saw an opportunity. In 1526, at the First Battle of Panipat, Babur, with a small, but highly disciplined and mobile army equipped with modern artillery, faced the massive forces of Ibrahim Lodi, the Sultan of Delhi. Against all odds, Babur emerged victorious. This pivotal battle wasn't just a military triumph. It was the birth of one of the world's most magnificent empires. Babur's victory laid the foundation of Mughal rule in India, but he was more than just a conqueror. His memoirs, the Baburnama, reveal a man of refined tastes, a lover of poetry, a connoisseur of gardens, and a keen observer of the natural world. He introduced the concept of charbagh, the symmetrical four-part gardens that would become a hallmark of Mughal design. He longed for the melons and cool breezes of his homeland. Yet he set in motion a dynasty that would become deeply intertwined with the Indian soil. His reign was short, lasting only 4 years, but the seeds he planted were destined to grow into a mighty tree. The true architect of the Mughal Empire's lasting structure was Babur's grandson, Akbar. He ascended the throne in 1556 as a mere boy of 13, inheriting a kingdom that was fragile and threatened from all sides. The challenges were immense. Rebellious nobles, rival claimants to the throne, and powerful regional kingdoms vying for dominance. Yet this young king possessed a wisdom and strength far beyond his years. Through a series of brilliant military campaigns and astute political maneuvering, Akbar not only secured his throne, but expanded the empire's borders to encompass most of northern and central India. But Akbar's greatness wasn't defined by his conquests alone. He was a true visionary, a ruler who understood that an empire's strength lies not just in its armies, but in the hearts of its people. He embarked on a radical policy of religious tolerance, a concept almost unheard of in that era. He abolished the jizya, a discriminatory tax on non-Muslims, and actively encouraged dialogue between different faiths. His court became a vibrant hub of intellectual and cultural exchange, where scholars, poets, artists, and musicians from various backgrounds were welcomed and honored. At his capital, Fatehpur Sikri, he even established the Ibadat Khana, or House of Worship, where he would host debates between theologians of Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, Jainism, and Zoroastrianism. It was under Akbar that the Mughal Empire transformed from a foreign conquest into a truly Indian empire, a beacon of syncretic culture, art, and effective governance. Akbar's legacy of cultural patronage and relative stability was carried forward by his son, Jahangir. A passionate aesthete and a keen naturalist, Jahangir's reign is often considered a golden age for Mughal painting. Artists at his court perfected the art of miniature painting, creating incredibly detailed and lifelike portraits and depictions of court life, flora, and fauna. Jahangir was also known for his peculiar sense of justice. Legend has it that he installed a chain of justice, a golden chain with bells, that anyone seeking justice could pull to get the emperor's personal attention. His reign was a period of peace and prosperity, allowing the artistic and cultural seeds planted by his father to fully blossom. He was a ruler who preferred the stroke of a painter's brush to the clash of a warrior's sword, and the empire flourished under his watch. And then came the emperor whose name has become synonymous with architectural grandeur and eternal love, Shah Jahan. If Akbar built the empire's soul, Shah Jahan gave it its most breathtaking physical form. His reign marked the zenith of Mughal architecture. He commissioned magnificent structures that blended Persian, Indian, and Islamic styles into a unique and harmonious whole. Forts, mosques, and palaces of red sandstone and white marble rose across the empire. The Red Fort in Delhi, the Shalimar Gardens in Lahore, and the exquisite Moti Masjid in Agra are all testaments to his passion for building. But one project, born from love and grief, would eclipse all others and become his everlasting legacy. After the death of his beloved wife, Taj Mahal, a heartbroken Shah Jahan commissioned a mausoleum that would be unrivaled in beauty and splendor. For over 2 decades, more than 20,000 artisans, craftsmen, and laborers worked to create this monument. The result was the Taj Mahal, a symphony in white marble, a poem etched in stone. It stands today not just as a symbol of India, but as a universal testament to the power of love and the heights of human creativity. Under Shah Jahan, the Mughal Empire was at its most glamorous, a dazzling spectacle of wealth, power, and artistic genius. The empire reached its greatest territorial extent under Shah Jahan's son, Aurangzeb. A formidable military strategist and a devout, austere ruler, Aurangzeb expanded Mughal dominion deep into southern India. For nearly half a century, he ruled over an empire that stretched from Kashmir in the north to the Deccan Plateau in the south, from Afghanistan in the west to Bengal in the east. He was a tireless administrator and a commander who spent much of his reign on the battlefield. However, Aurangzeb's rule was also marked by controversy. He reversed many of Akbar's policies of religious tolerance, reimposing the jizya and adopting stricter orthodox Islamic policies. His long and costly wars in the Deccan drained the imperial treasury, and his policies alienated significant populations, sparking rebellions and unrest across the empire, particularly from the Marathas, Sikhs, and Rajputs. While he expanded the empire to its largest size, his rigid rule and constant warfare inadvertently planted the seeds of its eventual decline. The immense pressure of maintaining such a vast and diverse territory began to show. Beyond the emperors and their battles, the Mughal era was a crucible of culture. It was a time when Persian, the language of the court, mingled with local dialects to give rise to Urdu. Miniature painting reached new heights of sophistication. Music, dance, and poetry flourished in the courts and cities. They developed sophisticated administrative systems, including a standardized currency and a well-organized land revenue system that influenced governance in the subcontinent for centuries to come. The Mughals weren't just rulers. They were tastemakers and patrons who sponsored a cultural renaissance. But as with all great empires, the sun began to set on the Mughals. After Aurangzeb's death in 1707, the empire was plagued by a series of weak rulers and bloody wars of succession. Internal strife weakened the central authority, and powerful regional governors and chieftains began to assert their independence. The Marathas in the west, the Sikhs in the north, and others carved out their own kingdoms from the fracturing empire. The final blow came from outside. European powers, particularly the British East India Company, began to exert their influence, exploiting the political vacuum. Through trade, diplomacy, and eventually military force, they gradually dismantled the remaining Mughal authority. The symbolic end came in 1857, after the Indian Rebellion, when the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, was exiled by the British, formally ending a dynasty that had ruled for over 300 years. Yet, to say the Mughal Empire ended is to miss its true legacy. It lives on. It lives on in the majestic silhouette of the Taj Mahal against the morning sky, in the imposing ramparts of the Red Fort, and in the delicate floral patterns carved into marble screens. It survives in the flavors of Mughlai cuisine, in the rhythms of classical music, and in the vocabulary of our languages. The Mughals left an indelible mark on the art, architecture, and culture of South Asia, creating a rich, composite heritage that continues to define the region. Their story is a powerful reminder that history is not just a collection of dates and battles, but a living narrative of ambition, creativity, love, and loss. A story of a glorious empire whose echoes will resonate for centuries to come. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the past, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories from history.